Howdy folks, Corrects here, and welcome to Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 44. And today we're going to delve into something special. We're going back, way back to the 2750 era, the Star League. And yes, if you read the title, it's the Black Knight. Yeah, what's not? I love this mech. It's one of my favorites. Alright, now, the Black Knight. Yep. 75 tons. It's a 464. Carries an endo steel chassis. It makes it lighter, more space. All right, carries the 464 zero, no jump jets. It's a heavy. What can you say? It's 75 tons. Not really necessary per se. Carries 20 heat sinks. Carries 208 points of armor, which is 1.5 tons short of maximum, which can be rectified. And then it carries a PPC in the right arm, 2 large lasers in the left and right torso, 4 medium lasers, which is 1 in the right and left torso each, and then 1 in each arm, and a small laser in the head, and a beagle probe in the center torso. Alright. Beagle probe. That kind of tells you something. What would I use this thing for? Oh yeah, finding hidden stuff. Or looking around. The only thing that would make this mech better is if it had ECM. So it's kind of like a heavy scout. For the assault lance, kind of say. Now, what do I use this thing for? Pretty much everything but anti-infantry. If you're going to take on infantry, as we delved into the last couple episodes, that's where you call in. It's like, all right, we cleared out the mechs. We got infantry sitting on the hill. What do we call? Fire starter or a Vulcan. Something that goes in there and goes, toasty, toasty, burny, burning. So this mech here can do pretty much everything but take on infantry. It can do the job. It's just that it'll take forever and a day, and then you're probably going to be hurting by the time you're done because it's going to take you forever to do it. Now, how do I use this mech? Well, you got a PPC. That's a direct fire weapon. Shoots out there. It's just a standard one, so you got 18 hex range. So this and 2 large lasers. So you can go into battle doing direct fire when you're closing. And you can do the fire support type of job. It's similar to what you could do with a Marauder is another good example. What you can use it just like Warhammer, same kind of job. But I believe that the Black Knight does the job a little bit better because it has a little bit more armor and it has the ability with those heat sinks to kind of mitigate some of the problems you're going to have with it. Now, one problem that you could run into with the Black Knight is heat. You're going to have, you got 20 heat sinks. All right, you got a PPC which does 10, and you got 2 large lasers which shoot out to 15. Those do 16. So 20, that's 26 altogether. That's going to be 6 up in heat scale. Are you going to do that? No, I don't think so. Even if you're desperate. Well, I guess if you're desperate or you have you like living in your own juices in your own jacuzzi, I suppose you could, and you're smashing the reset button. Reset, oh my gosh, I'm cooking. But how would I use this thing? I usually fire the PPC, then a large laser. That's 18, that gives me enough. That's 2 left over to run with. That puts me up at 20 if I decide to run. Okay, never heat up. Now if I get a little closer where those 2 large lasers are doing a little bit better, I might shut off the PPC and just shoot 2, let's say if you get a 9 with a 9, 2 large lasers and a medium laser. Okay, that's puts you at 19, and if you run, that puts you at 21. Okay, not bad. 1 heat. So if you're only going on 1 heat, you can do that a few turns. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is when you start getting into close. Now, if you're within 9 and you're looking at those medium lasers and you have the large lasers, what are you going to shoot? If I'm within 6, I'm going to fire all the medium lasers. That's 12 and a large laser. That would put me at 20. And then with my movement, okay, that's the only thing that's going to heat me up. And I can mitigate that by not firing a medium laser the next turn back and forth. And that's a bit of damage. You're talking about 28 points of damage on somebody in one turn. Yeah, that's potential. And so you're going to be attracting a lot of attention. So a lot of games, when somebody sees a Black Knight coming, they're going to, okay, we know this thing can do some serious damage. So they're going to be trying to focus it down, which leaves the other mechs to be relatively unscathed. And that's, you know, you get the armor that can last a few turns, you know, if you're being focused on by, you know, a heavy lance, or heck, if it's an assault lance, you may not last very long. But, you know, just hope that your movement, you're running or getting into your cover, you know, wooded hex, behind partial cover, that will mitigate some of that damage down and skew the dice rolls in your favor. And or they'll switch and find themselves a better target. Let's say if you're in a group game, you're like, okay, this guy's got need a 10 to hit him, or I need a 7 or 8 to hit this guy over here. Who are they going to go after? They're going to shoot the better guy that it's going to be easier to hit. So that's what you got to do, is just make sure that you're not going to be the guy that's always the target, and you're dishing it out, because this thing can dish out some good damage. You know, you can do 16 or 18. You know, if at range 15, you can do 16 or 18, depending on which weapons you want to fire. Usually I'd go with the PPC and a large laser at range 15. If you're within 16, 17, or 18, obviously you're just going to use a PPC. And then 10 points is a nice little sniper. Okay, the odds are you're going to hit at that range, probably not. But if you got a good pilot in this thing, and in all my mercenary games, you know, we like to have a commander. I usually like my commander to be in my Black Knight, and that's my favorite mech when I'm using my mercenary company. Is if I can ever get my hands on a Black Knight, there you go. All right, that's what we're going to be using. Now, let's look at the variants. Oh wait, there is none. It's a Star League mech. They don't usually have variants. Or if they do, they don't talk about them much, because the time frame involved. Now, since it does have Star League tech on it, like the Indosteel, what's to stop you? Let's just talk about this for a second when it comes to doing some changes, like in a variant, is you got 20 heat sinks. If you made those double heat sinks, let that sink in a little bit. Double heat sinks. So if you got double heat sinks, do you need all 20? Nope. Drop it down to 17. 17 double heat sinks. So we're not talking about 3050 tech. We're going into the 2750 tech. Yes, they did have double heat sinks back then. And with 17, that frees up 3 tons. What were you going to do with those 3 tons? Well, I'm a big fan of maxing out my armor, so that's 1.5 tons. That leaves me 1.5 tons left. What can you do with 1.5 tons? 2 things. Either add more weapons or add a device. So if you're inclined to try to protect yourself from, let's say, even if you're in the 3050, let's just delve a little bit farther ahead, and there's this thing called Artemis. What shuts down Artemis quickly? ECM. All right, you can throw an ECM pod on this thing someplace, and next thing you know, your enemies are going, oh, okay, not going to shoot him with my missiles, let's go find a different target. Or else if they're going to shoot at you, they're not going to get that bonus. Now, what's not to like about that? All right, so you can always throw on an ECM. Or with that 1.5 tons, you can upgrade the small laser to a medium laser and add another medium laser. You now have 6 medium lasers. 6. That's 30 points damage up close with a 9. And then you have the ability to really tear things up close. And let's say you got 17 heat sinks, they're doubles, that's 34 heat that you can dissipate. All right, what is 6 medium lasers do in heat? 18. You got 2 large lasers, not upgraded. That does 16. 18 and 16 is, yes, 34. So the only thing that affects your heat is your walking or your running. And you can do that for 2 turns and then maybe shut off a medium laser. And you drop back down, do it again for another turn or 2, and then shut down a medium laser. So you're flipping back and forth. All right. Now, some people are like, oh, you can't do that. You know, it's not a true book mech. I'm talking about mercenaries here. Or even a enterprising commander that got him hands on a bunch of Star League tech, and he's like, "Ooh, what are these wonderful little toys I can throw on?" And he flips everything and flips out, switches all of his heat sinks. So there's all kinds of things you can do in the game. You know, it's your campaign. You can play the campaign however you want to. So this is the whole purpose of this series. Is we're talking about doing campaigns. What you can do as a mercenary commander in your campaign. Now, if you're in a house division or regiment, the odds of you being able to change your mech, it's got to come on down from high, and they're like, nope, that's the way it is. We know what you have at writing as a mech jock, and the supply line says this is what comes down because this is what you're writing, and there's no changes. All right, I can get that. But as a mercenary, sky's the limit. Whatever's on the market, you can put on it and switch things around. So here nor there. Now, any other things that you can do with this thing? Well, in the standard configuration, you can tear up other mechs, and this is what, you know, I was talking about, the different roles that most mechs can either be: fire support, rip mechs, recon, you know, you name it. And depending on how you configure, you know, do the configuration on this thing, you can do pretty much all those roles, like I said in the beginning, except for anti-infantry. Who's to say, though, you couldn't take that extra tonnage or that you have, and say if you had the doubles and flip those 2 and make them 2 flamers. All right, so you still got the medium lasers and the flamers, and you can really make infantry go screaming and hollering across the battlefield. You can just roll up on a platoon and go, hello, have a nice day, and fry. You know, you can do that. So if you got any questions or anything you want to do, this was a kind of a request that came out across the YouTube here, and they said, hey, could you do this? And I said, not a problem. I'm more than glad to do some reviews on different kinds of mechs. Now, I've had asked before, why don't I give out the point costs and stuff, you know, for battle value. I can't give you everything because it's like there's certain things you just got to look at and how you're going to balance out your games. Maybe that could be a video in the future of how to balance your games out with your battle values, but maybe that's something down the road. And maybe I can get on this. I had in the works right now. I was going to work on the Valkyrie, so maybe that's what's next. All right, you guys, you stay safe out there, and put your thoughts down below. Subscribe. This is Hellcorrect. You guys have a great one.